My name is Rajiv Parekh from Red Architects. So we're essentially a firm which was established in 2004. We have been in business since then. We're now a team of about 35 people, architects, interior designers. With regards to our design philosophy, we believe anything that we design, whether it's a piece of furniture, it's a center table, it's a chair, it could be the master plan. It needs to serve its function. It needs to serve its intent. If it's intended as a large sculptural installation in the middle of a park, then it needs to serve that intent. If it's intended to serve the purpose of providing shelter, it needs to provide that. So I can't create a design which doesn't serve its intent. If it's functionally unable to sort of serve its purpose, then I think we have failed as designers. This particular building, the brief for that was that there were certain successful experiments which were to be taken as learnings from the rural schools. In terms of a visual brief, the client was a big fan of the, in Bangalore, the main, I think the Parliament building, which is the Ubud, which has these sort of glorious columns, and it's more a classical sort of old building. He didn't want to replicate that, but there were certain sort of, there was a scale of that structure, which is something that he wanted to incorporate into the overall look and feel of this building. The project is basically located on the outskirts of a town in rural Maharashtra. It's located on a larger site, so it's part of a campus. It does have its independent entry exit from that campus, hence it allowed us a certain amount of leeway in terms of the overall access and the planning and orientation of the structure. The starting point, the germ of the idea basically is always the site for us, right? Now this plot in specific was something which was located between two main roads. That's broadly that was the shape of the plot. We had roads on both sides, allowed us to kind of have access points from either of the two sides. It's part of a larger campus. So being a part of the larger campus, what kind of had to be kept in mind for us was that there's a central green which is kind of imagined as all the buildings kind of face that green space. The result of that was that our particular site, which we chose for the first school building, landed up being in this part. The school, which has younger kids, needed to have a separate access, independent sort of control point, so that the older kids were never sort of interacting with the younger kids. So we chose this, so that's on the quieter side of the road. This being the main sort of thoroughfare which connects to the airport here and the city here. Furthermore, this was, in terms of the lay of the land, it kind of sloped towards this corner and a little bit towards this, which allowed us this position being at a higher elevation than the rest of the ground. We've of course taken rainwater harvesting pits and all of that into this corner, so that the rainwater basically goes back into the pits and the bore wells get replenished basically over the years. The structure was planned as a main spine, the entrance atrium, which is connecting 5 fingers essentially, which come out of the main spine. Each of these fingers comes out in varying degrees, allowing us for a difference in the length of the shadow of each structure. This is at a slight degree of about 7 to 8 degrees, which ensures that the winds which are coming in from the southwest get funneled into the courts. To me, the entire thing is actually a series of courtyards. Furthermore, after each of the 2 classrooms, we have courtyards here. So the fact that each block has further 2 courtyards allows us to basically have this entire green space almost interlocking with the solid mass. The southwest wind funnels into this. What it further does is that each classroom consists of a block. Each classroom has over here a large circular colonnade, and this is the entire walkway. It's shaded. From this side you get natural light coming in here. You get this side open, you get this side open and this side open, which ensures that at any given time you just have one common dead party wall. One of the key parameters of the design language here, like I mentioned earlier, was that the clients wanted to take the learnings from the rural schools into the main school building as well. What we were able to accomplish in the rural schools is by using large overhangs, using the orientation of the building to allow wind to funnel through the classrooms, shading it from the harsh sunlight. So each of these fingers shades the other finger. The distance between the courtyard is such so that the finger to the south shades the next one, this finger shades the next one, shades the next one, other than at bang on 12 noon. To this west side, we have a series of staircases, which are my fire escape stairs. So each of these fire escape stairs creates this beautiful visual language because they're cantilevered stairs with a solid mass as the structural sort of divider in between. Along the entire block of this, we have these large circular columns which are 4 floors high and about a meter in diameter. They're a structural element, as well as the fact that my walkway slabs are released from this column. It allows for this visual grandeur, which was part of the original brief, and that otherwise is simplified. It's taken into a contemporary language. There's no ornamentation, there's no Corinthian sort of pediment at the top or the bottom, but simple concrete columns treated in their true material, left intact, allow for the grandness of the scale of the structure to become evident, at the same time keeping the fact that, you know, the rural aspects which we like in terms of light, ventilation are continued. In terms of the material palette, something that we kind of consciously kept in mind, we wanted to use as much materials which was locally available. So we stuck to traditional sort of Indian stones like shabad, tandoor. We did bring in a little bit of laterite, which had to be sort of driven across, but 90% of the materials we stuck to that. At the same time, the fact that we were building a school which was contemporary, which was supposed to be sort of, you know, the harbinger of future into this sort of rural area, we had to use glass and incorporate that. We had to use a little bit of, I mean, concrete of course was the material of choice. Looking at the scale of the construction, it's about 2.5 lakh square feet of area, with large spans, you know, column-free spaces for congregation of the cafeteria area, the assembly space, the quadruple height space, which is the atrium, which has a rock climbing wall in it, which has now of course been developed into an idea where annually the students take up that whole wall and paint it. So there's a scaffold put up, so across age groups students create their own artwork, and this becomes the collage which remains through the entire year until the next academic year comes into play. So I think I would place a lot of weightage on this. In terms of design principles, I would say the learning from this is that just orienting it by 8 degrees to, you know, align with the cardinal axis allowed for this to cut back in terms of their running cost, their electricity consumption. The fans are used infrequently, there's wind funneling through it, there's natural light 24/7 in all seasons, so you rarely need to use the electricity in terms of fans or in terms of light. Other than peak of summer, just the last finger of the entire block gets hit by the west sun, otherwise everything else remains sheltered. So I think that is key, to kind of acknowledge the climatic conditions around you and to respond to that, versus trying to build a futuristic sort of design. Again, it goes back to our concept that design needs to work. If design doesn't work, it kind of fails miserably.